4 years ago, Daniel Carter believed that what he had done was just a small mistake, a moment of weakness that would quietly disappear and never affect the life he had built with his wife Laura and their young daughter. While his family was away for the weekend, the silence inside the house slowly pulled him toward something reckless, and that's when he met Sophie Bennett, a woman who was confident, charming, and carried an intensity that felt exciting at first but hid something much darker underneath. What started as a simple connection quickly turned into a passionate affair that lasted only a couple of days. But for Sophie, those moments meant far more than Daniel had ever intended. When Laura returned home, Daniel slipped back into his normal life as if nothing had happened, convincing himself that it was over, that it would stay a secret, and that Sophie would simply move on. But she didn't. At first, it was just a few phone calls that seemed harmless, but those calls quickly became constant, coming at all hours, slowly turning into something Daniel could no longer ignore. When he finally told Sophie that it was over and that they needed to stop, she refused to accept it, and that was the moment everything began to change. Her voice became colder, her behavior became unpredictable, and what once felt like attraction slowly turned into fear. Then Sophie told him she was pregnant, and in that moment, Daniel realized that the situation had already gone out of his control. He tried to fix things, offering money, help, and support, hoping to end it quietly. But Sophie didn't want any of that, because what she wanted was him, completely and forever. And when she understood that she could never truly have him, her emotions turned into obsession. The calls became aggressive, her presence became disturbing, and she started appearing in places she was never supposed to be, watching from a distance and reminding Daniel that she was still there and not going anywhere. Slowly, his perfect life began to fall apart under the pressure of a secret that refused to stay hidden, and the fear of being exposed turned into the fear of something much worse. Sophie was no longer just a mistake, she had become a threat. Then one day, that threat became real in a way Daniel could never forget. When he came home and realized that Sophie had entered his house and left behind something so disturbing that it sent a chill through his entire body. That was the moment Daniel finally told Laura everything, the affair, the lies, and the danger that had now entered their lives, leaving her heartbroken and in shock. But there was no time to deal with the pain, because Sophie's actions were becoming more dangerous with every passing day. What started as emotional pressure slowly turned into fear, as Sophie pushed herself deeper into their lives, showing again and again that she could reach them anytime she wanted. And then things went too far. One afternoon, their daughter suddenly disappeared, and in that moment, fear turned into panic as they realized that Sophie had crossed a line that could never be undone. Although their daughter was later found safe, the message was clear. Sophie was no longer just trying to hold on to Daniel. She was ready to destroy everything he loved. From that day on, their home no longer felt safe, and every second felt heavy, like something terrible was about to happen. And then it finally did. One night, Sophie broke into their house, driven by an obsession that had completely taken over her mind, and without warning, she attacked Laura with a rage that had been building for months. Daniel rushed in, and what followed was a desperate and chaotic struggle filled with fear, anger, and pure survival, where everything felt like it was collapsing in seconds. For a moment, it seemed like it was finally over, but it was. Because Sophie came back one last time, more dangerous than ever, leaving Laura with no choice. And then, a single gunshot shattered the silence. Everything stopped. The fear, the chaos, the nightmare ended in an instant. Daniel and Laura survived, but their life was never the same again, because the truth stayed with them forever. It only took one mistake, one moment, one decision, to destroy everything.